Hello, my name is Malin Hosteller, and my topic for today is why you should adopt and not shop. My audience member is my sister Faith over here. How many of you have animals that you love dearly? I have one too, and her name is Pepper. I just recently adopted her from a shelter in West Virginia that was going to put her down. I bet a lot of you did not know that shelters would do that to animals if they do not get adopted quick enough. That's why I'm here to tell you why adopting should always be your first choice before shopping for an animal. Buying an animal seems like a good idea at first, but when you find out where they came from and the torture they put the animals through, you might want to change your mind. Adopting is always a better idea because not only does it help stop the abuse that the animals go through, but you also give an animal a home that it needs. When you adopt an animal, you're giving it a home that it will live in forever. People often buy animals that they cannot afford in the long run or cannot take care of and give it the love that it needs. They either then drop it off on the side of the roads or they drop it off directly at the animal shelter or humane society. Approximately 6.5 billion animals worldwide enter shelters each year according to the ASPCA. This happens a lot, which causes shelters to become full because people are constantly buying animals and realizing that they can't take care of them or afford them, and then they have to drop them off soon after they get them. The animals often sit in the shelters for a long time waiting to be adopted. It's never the animal's fault. It's always the owner's fault because they don't realize how much it costs yearly to keep the animal with the food, with the medical bills, and so on and so forth. It is very easy to adopt an animal. There is a process to go through, but it's not a very long one. When I adopted Pepper, I had her adopted within 10 minutes, and I signed the papers, and they gave her to me. The average price to adopt an animal in Ohio ranges from $50 to $200, as stated in the Wayne County Humane Society website. Now, when buying an animal, it can range anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 and can go upwards towards $15,000 depending on how purebred the animal is, according to costhelpers.com. A lot of people tend to buy animals instead of adopting them because they do not know what goes on behind closed doors of the shelter or of the shop. There are plenty of terrible things that happen to animals that most people do not know go on. With one, that's the main one, animals will be euthanized if they do not get adopted in a certain period of time. They get euthanized because people are constantly bringing animals into shelters and then they run out of cages, they run out of food, they just don't have enough food for all the animals that they are constantly getting in daily. And they run out of space, which causes them to have to euthanize the animal. Approximately 2 million animals are euthanized in shelters per year, according to the No Kill Advocacy Center. This is Pepper. I just recently adopted her about 3 months ago from a shelter in West Virginia that was going to put her down. She is 2 years old and she's a calico. We're going to put her down. But she's a calico and she doesn't really like being held, but I've only had her for 3 months, so I'm going to try to work her into being held, but she has her vaccine, she has a rabies shot, she's litter trained, and it costed me $80 to adopt her, and she got all of that included with her adoption fee. I also got a voucher to spay her for only $50. In stores, a lot of animals come from animal mills or even worse. Stores tend to buy from animal mills because it is a lot cheaper to buy from an animal mill than a breeder, and then they can upsell the animal and sell them from anywhere from $800 to more. An animal mill or a puppy mill is a mill that is meant to quickly breed animals, and it is often left in poor conditions with no love, barely any food, and they often do not get the vaccines they need. They don't get neutered or spayed. They just don't get what they need because they just want to quickly breed them and get them out to sell, according to the website petfinder.com. mills have very high expectations for their animals. With that being said, they want their animals to have perfect fur, the perfect ears, the perfect size, the perfect teeth, and if they don't, they go and put them down. In high school, I had a friend named Haley who worked at the Berlin Vet, which is very close to one of the most popular animal mills in Berlin. And she told me about the story of how a person from the mill brought in a Great Dane puppy and said that it was deaf. So they took it and did some simple tests like snapping their fingers and clapping, and it reacted, which means that it was not deaf. But because the owner came in and said they had to put it down, they had to put it down, even though the dog was perfectly fine and anyone would be willing to adopt it. And this is why you should adopt and not shop for an animal. When adopting, you are helping the animals that have been brought in and dropped off already. You are helping them from being stuck in a humane society for the rest of their life or being euthanized. When you shop for an animal, not only are you spending a lot of money on it, but you are also supporting an animal mill without even knowing it. You are also supporting the torture that the animals go through in order to be bred and sold. With that being said, I hope the next time you are thinking about getting an animal, that adoption comes to your mind first before shopping for an animal.